What if I told you the last time you got angry, it was your fault? I know, it doesn't feel like it was your fault. They insulted you. They cut you off. They lied. They walked away when you needed them the most. And every cell in your body screamed, react, raise your voice, punch the wall, make them feel what they made you feel. But here's something no one ever told you growing up. You can't get angry unless you give someone permission to control your peace. It's a hard pill to swallow. I get it. We're raised to believe that reactions are justified, that pain equals proof, that if someone disrespects you, you're entitled to explode, that silence is weakness and shouting is power, that staying calm when insulted means you've accepted defeat. But what if I told you the exact opposite is true? See, anger feels like power, but it's not. It's a leash. And every time you lose your cool, every time your mood is hijacked by someone else's behavior, you tighten that leash around your own throat. You hand them the keys to your mind. Think about it. Has getting angry ever made your life better? Did the betrayal reverse? Did the person finally understand you? Or did it just leave a trail of broken plates, broken relationships, and sleepless nights? Here's what the Stoics figured out centuries ago. Peace isn't found in fixing people. It's found in mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, had enemies inside his palace, friends who turned on him, generals who plotted behind his back. But he didn't yell. He didn't curse the gods. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let that sink in. You've been searching for control in the wrong place. You thought if you could just make them understand, if you could make them treat you right, you'd finally feel okay. But the truth is, no one owes you peace. That's your job. It starts with one moment, one decision. To stop giving people the ability to ruin your day. To stop handing your mood to strangers. To stop thinking that your emotions are reactions when they're actually choices. In this video, I'll show you how to become that lion. Still, calm, unbothered. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Over the next 2 hours, we'll walk through what the ancient Stoics taught about emotional control, not as a theory, but as a way of surviving this loud, unpredictable world without letting it break you. Because some of the most peaceful people in history were also the ones who suffered the most. You've tried being reactive. You've tried yelling. You've tried bottling it in. Let's try something better. Stay with me, and I'll show you how to never again let anyone steal your peace. Not your parents, not your partner, not your boss, not your enemy, not even fate itself. And if you're new here, welcome. You've just found a place where emotions don't control you. You control them. And to those of you returning, I see you. Thank you for showing up again. Hit that subscribe button if you're done letting chaos run your life. And let's begin. Anger is a lie, not a mistake, not a bad habit, a lie, and one we've been fed since we were children. From the moment we're old enough to feel violated, anger feels right. Righteous, even. You were wronged, so you get to react. It's justice, isn't it? But here's the thing no one tells you. Anger rarely serves justice. It usually just serves your ego. At its core, anger is not strength. It's fear. It's the fight or flight response flaring up because you've lost control. Someone said something you didn't expect. Someone acted in a way you didn't plan for. And your brain, desperate to maintain power, lashes out. But that reaction isn't control, it's submission. You've just handed over your emotional state to someone else's behavior. And the worst part? Anger feels like control, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. Let's zoom in. Anger is a neurological shortcut, a protective mechanism that evolved to help you survive. The amygdala, the fear center in your brain, doesn't have time to rationalize. Someone threatens your identity, you get defensive. Someone ignores you, you feel disrespected. Someone disagrees with your opinion, it feels like an attack on your worth. So what happens? You react, you explode. And in that moment, you're not thinking clearly. You're not wise, you're not powerful, you're just loud. This is where the lie lives. That loudness equals strength. That yelling makes your point more valid. That anger means you care. But in reality, anger is often just your ego's way of avoiding humility. Because staying calm when someone disrespects you, that takes discipline. That takes awareness. That takes courage. Now let's be honest. Today's world is designed to make you angry. Twitter, TikTok, comment sections. You don't even have to leave your bed to feel personally attacked by a stranger 4,000 miles away. And if it's not the internet, it's family. The colleague who talks over you. The partner who shuts down mid-conversation. The parent who still treats you like a child. All of it builds until you snap, and you justify it by saying, they pushed me too far. But here's the Stoic truth. No one can push you unless you let them. Let's talk about the cost. Anger isn't just a temporary spike in emotion. It's a thief. It steals your time. Those long nights spent replaying an argument you lost. It steals your relationships, the people who walked away not because they stopped caring, but because you couldn't control your tone. And it steals your health. Raised cortisol, elevated blood pressure, heart problems, chronic stress, all over someone who forgot to text back, or cut you off in traffic, or didn't say thank you. You suffer, not because of what happened, but because you refused to let go of how you wanted it to happen. The Stoics knew this long before neuroscience confirmed it. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled Rome and faced betrayal after betrayal, said this: "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Let me repeat that. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? You think anger is a response, but most times it's just a new problem dressed as a reaction. So, what if you just didn't react? What if you saw anger for what it really is, a trap that looks like justice but leads to self-destruction? What if you paused and asked, is this useful? This lesson isn't about being passive, it's about being powerful. The most dangerous person in any room is not the one shouting, it's the one who stays composed, even when everything is falling apart. Anger is a lie. A seductive, destructive lie. And if you can see through it, you take the first step towards something almost no one else has in this modern world. Emotional sovereignty. The ability to feel anything without being ruled by it. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the one thing we all chase, but rarely achieve: control. And how the desire for control might be the very thing keeping you trapped. If you're still watching, you're not like most people. You're someone who's tired of reacting, someone who wants clarity, stillness, power that doesn't need to prove itself. So if this message speaks to you, tap that subscribe button. And to my returning viewers, welcome back. You already know what we're building here. And it's not just content, it's a mindset, a new way to live. Let's keep going. Lesson 1. Control is the core of peace. And if you don't understand this, the world will continue to own your mind. You think you're stressed because of them. You think you're angry because of what they said. You think you're hurt because of what they didn't do. But what if the real source of your suffering is your need to control things you were never meant to control? Let's be honest. Most of our lives are spent trying to make people do what we want, make them love us, make them see things our way, make them apologize. And when they don't, we spiral. We obsess over the message that never came. We rehearse conversations that never happened. We go back through old screenshots like forensic detectives, trying to find the moment they stopped caring. It's exhausting. And it's all based on a lie that if you just say the right thing, act the right way, or sacrifice enough of yourself, you can control how others treat you. But the Stoics had a word for that kind of thinking: delusion. The ancient Stoics saw life for what it really is: unpredictable, unstable, uncontrollable. And instead of fighting reality, they turned inward. Epictetus was born into slavery. He didn't own property. He didn't control his schedule. He didn't even have power over his own body. But he had one thing they couldn't take from him: his mind. And in the darkest of circumstances, he discovered something that most people today, free and privileged, still don't understand. If you master yourself, you master your life. Epictetus wrote, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond our power or our will." Let that sit. Cease worrying about anything you don't control. Let me give you a few examples. You can't control whether your partner stays, but you can control whether you betray yourself trying to please them. You can't control if they apologize, but you can control whether you carry bitterness every day waiting for it. You can't control how others see you, but you can control how much their opinion defines your identity. You can't control the driver who cut you off, but you can control whether they get to follow you home in your head. Control is not about making the world submit to your will. It's about refusing to let the world dictate your peace. Here's something you can do right now. Take a sheet of paper, draw 2 columns. In the first one, write what I tried to control today. In the second, what I actually control. You'll notice something. Most of what annoyed you today didn't text back, disrespected you, ignored your idea, ran late, posted something passive-aggressive. None of it lives in your column. And yet, you gave it power. Power it didn't earn. Power it didn't deserve. Peace isn't passive. It's powerful. It's not pretending things don't bother you. It's realizing that your reaction is the only part that's truly yours. The world will not change for you. People won't start behaving exactly how you hope, but that's okay, because the goal isn't to control them. The goal is to stop letting them control you. Here's your exercise for today, and I don't mean this metaphorically. Actually do it. Sit down. Write 5 things that annoyed you this week. Then, next to each one, ask yourself, did I control this? You'll realize most of your suffering came from trying to direct traffic in someone else's lane. When you stop chasing control, something incredible happens. Your peace returns. You stop trying to change their mind. You stop waiting for closure. You stop needing them to understand, because you understand that the only battle worth fighting is the one inside. And it's won, not by force, but by letting go. So remember this. You don't need to control the world to be okay. You just need to control the one thing most people never do: themselves. Next up, Lesson 2. And we'll talk about the real reason we suffer. Not because life is cruel, but because we argue with reality itself. And if this message found you at the right time, if it reminded you of what you already knew deep down, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, share it, or just leave a comment saying, "I choose peace." That's it, one sentence, but it means you're done trying to control the storm, and instead you're learning to be still within it. Lesson 2. Don't argue with reality. Pain is inevitable, but suffering, that's optional. You see, most people don't live in reality. They live in a mental courtroom, arguing with life, filing silent complaints against their past, their parents, their partners, their bosses, and even the weather. They say, "This shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have treated me that way. I don't deserve this." But here's the brutal truth. The world doesn't care what you think should or shouldn't happen. Reality doesn't negotiate with your emotions. It just is. Let me take you to the year 167 AD. Rome was bleeding from the edges. War in the east, plague in the capital, treason in the Senate. At the center of it all sat a man named Marcus Aurelius, emperor, warrior, philosopher. By every modern definition, he had every reason to snap. His wife died. His children died. His most trusted general betrayed him. And yet, in the very middle of all this chaos, he sat down, opened a worn-out journal, and wrote these words: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." No anger, no screaming, no desperate Facebook rants, just quiet, acceptance, and wisdom. Someone might ask, but won't accepting reality make me weak? No, the opposite. Acceptance isn't giving up, it's the end of a pointless war. Think about it. What happens when you resist what already is? You get tense, you clench your jaw, your thoughts spiral, you start living in the past, or in some fantasy where life obeys your preferences. Meanwhile, reality doesn't care. It's subtle. You tell yourself, my parents should have been more supportive. My partner should understand me. This company should have promoted me. But should is fantasy. Reality is what's happening right now. I once heard a story about a man named David, worked 10 years at a tech firm, loyal, hard-working. He got laid off in a 5-minute Zoom call, crushed, embarrassed, angry. He spent the first few weeks in denial, replaying the conversation, arguing in his head. But nothing changed, except him. He got more bitter, more anxious. Then one night he saw an old Stoic quote on Instagram. "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them." Epictetus. It hit him like a slap. He realized he wasn't suffering because of the layoff. He was suffering because he thought, this shouldn't have happened. And in that moment, he let it go. Fast forward a year. He started his own digital agency. Now, he says the layoff was the best thing that ever happened to him, but only because he stopped arguing with reality and started working with it. The Stoics didn't just accept life, they loved it, even the painful parts. Amor fati, love your fate, not tolerate it, not survive it, love it. Because buried inside every heartbreak, every disappointment, every betrayal, is a lesson, a redirection, a moment of clarity you would have never found on your own. Today, pay attention. Each time you catch yourself saying, "This shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't feel this way." Stop. Pause. Ask, what is reality right now? Then, accept it. That doesn't mean you approve of it. It means you're choosing peace over fantasy. Reframe. This is happening for me, not to me. This is the Stoic magic. Every trigger becomes training. Every loss becomes liberation. Every rejection becomes redirection. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations because life was easy. He wrote it because it was hard, and he stopped resisting it. So should you. Don't argue with what is. Accept it, learn from it, and move on. If you do that, you'll never suffer the same way again. Lesson 3. The View from Above. Soon you will have forgotten all things. Soon all things will have forgotten you. Marcus Aurelius. Let me ask you something. Right now, wherever you're sitting, standing or lying down, what does your problem look like? Maybe you're thinking about something someone said, a betrayal, a missed opportunity, an insult, a lie. It feels enormous, heavy, personal. But what if you were wrong about its size? Close your eyes. Now rise above your body. Imagine the ceiling disappears. Then the roof. You're floating now, slowly rising. You see your neighborhood, then your city, then your country, and eventually the planet. Earth floating in infinite black. Zoom out further. Your anger, a flicker. Your frustration, an echo of a moment. You, a dot on a dot, spinning in silence. This is the Stoic exercise called the view from above. It was practiced by the Emperor of Rome himself, Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history. Yet he would remind himself, soon you will have forgotten all things. Soon all things will have forgotten you. Not to depress himself, but to liberate himself. Think of the last time you truly lost your temper. Maybe you said something you regret. Maybe your heart was racing and your body tense. Now ask, what did it solve? When you zoom out, you see clearly. That argument didn't shape the course of the universe. That betrayal didn't break the stars. The world kept turning. Perspective kills ego, and ego is the fuel of anger. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Carla, a nurse. She spent her life tending to patients, often ones who were terminal. Over the years, she began asking them a simple question in their final days. What do you wish you hadn't wasted energy on? You know what she heard most often? I wish I hadn't gotten so angry about stupid things. I wish I didn't hold on to things I couldn't change. One man told her, I spent 10 years not talking to my brother over something I can't even remember now. What a joke. What a waste. When we zoom out, we see how much time we trade for outrage and how little it was worth. Try this with me. Take a deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Now, say this silently. Will this matter in a year? Now zoom further. Will this matter in 10? Will anyone even remember it in 100? The answer is almost always no. So why carry it? Your emotions are real, but they are not reliable narrators. They tell stories in the heat of the moment, dramas, betrayals, catastrophes. But when you change the lens, you see the comedy, the absurdity, the insignificance. Stoics weren't emotionless. They were just masters of perspective. They understood that anger shrinks your world. It traps you in a single moment, a single insult, a single injustice. But when you rise above it, when you see from the cosmic view, you remember, you are not a prisoner of this moment. You are not obligated to react. You are a free being with the power to pause, observe, and let go. So the next time something grabs you, someone cuts you off in traffic, a friend says something cruel, a stranger online mocks your beliefs, just breathe and rise. Zoom out. Will this matter in a year? You are a tiny part of something vast, ancient, and unknowable. In that awareness, anger dissolves, because what once felt like a storm now looks like a cloud passing over a vast, still sky. Lesson 4. Expectations are poison. There's a quiet kind of pain no one talks about. It doesn't scream or explode. It doesn't throw plates or punch walls. No, this pain wears a smile. It says, "I'm fine," while something inside quietly dies. And it begins with a story you wrote in your head about how things were supposed to go, how people were supposed to act, how life was supposed to reward you for doing everything right. Let's look at this closely. You expected the job to call you back. You expected your friend to show up when it mattered. You expected your partner to read your mind and know exactly what you needed. You expected your child to grow into the image you secretly crafted. But they didn't. And now you're hurt. But what exactly hurt you? The truth? Or your expectation of something else? Let me tell you a story. There was a father, a single parent, who spent his entire life providing for his son, worked 2 jobs, missed vacations, skipped meals so his kid wouldn't have to. He taught him values, sat with him during every school project, paid for the best education he could afford. And in his mind, he had a story, a simple one. My son will grow up, go to college, become successful, and he'll never forget what I did for him. He'll appreciate me. He'll call me every week. We'll have dinner Sundays. He'll thank me. He'll need me. But life didn't read the script. The boy grew into a man, and yes, he did well. Got into a good school, moved to a city, started his career. But then came the silence. Calls got fewer. Messages became short. The Sunday dinners stopped. The father waited by the phone more than he talked on it. Eventually the father, heart heavy, voice shaky, asked, "Why don't you call anymore?" And the son said, "I didn't think you needed me." The father didn't cry in that moment. But later that night, he stared at the ceiling and realized he was grieving not the truth, but the version of his son he created in his head. We do this all the time. We expect people to meet us where we are, not where they are. We expect perfection from others that we excuse in ourselves. We turn life into a rigid screenplay and then rage when it doesn't follow our lines. But Stoicism warns, expectations are poison. Epictetus didn't say, "Prepare for sunshine." He said, "Prepare for insults, delays, and betrayals before your day even begins. Because when they happen, and they will, you won't break. You'll be ready." This doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging. It means we allow people to be who they are, not who we want them to be. So what's the cure? Detached expectations. You show up, you give your best, you stay kind, you love deeply, but you detach from how it's received. You release the outcome. You stop trying to control how life loves you back. Let's return to the father and the son. Eventually the father stopped waiting. He didn't stop loving. He stopped expecting. And something strange happened. The next time the son called, he didn't feel bitterness. He didn't feel disappointment. He felt peace, because he wasn't clinging to a story anymore. He was meeting life as it is, not as he hoped it would be. Now ask yourself, what's hurting you right now? Is it reality? Or is it the version of reality you expected? Write it down. Then prepare for tomorrow, not with blind hope, but with calm readiness. Because life doesn't owe you consistency, people don't owe you clarity, and love doesn't always look the way you pictured it. But that doesn't mean life isn't beautiful. It just means it's honest. Expect nothing, accept everything, and you'll finally be free. Lesson 5. The dichotomy of control. Have you ever stared at a situation so frustrating that it seemed to coil itself around your mind, squeezing every ounce of peace out of you? A friend didn't text back. Someone cut you off in traffic. You didn't get the job. Again. Your child slammed the door again. Your partner forgot something important to you. Now pause. Take all those things and place them into two boxes. Just two. Box 1, what you control. Box 2, what you don't. This is the foundation of Stoicism. This is what Epictetus taught his students every single day. Let's walk through this together. Box 1 contains your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, your effort, your reactions. Box 2 holds everything else. The weather, other people's choices, what happened in the past, what might happen in the future. The words someone said to you or didn't say. Now let me give you a drill. Write down 10 things that frustrated you in the last week. A delay, a betrayal, a late response, a spilled coffee, a rude comment, your child lying, a co-worker slacking, a rejection, a cancelled meeting, a sudden illness. Now take a breath. Go one by one. Ask honestly, was this in my control? Then ask, was my reaction in my control? There's a story I heard once about a Stoic teacher who used to open his classes with a simple question. Who here tried to control something that wasn't theirs today? Every hand would go up, and he would smile and say, good. That means you're still practicing. We're wired to control. We want to shape reality with our will. But Stoicism teaches us that peace begins where control ends. A friend ghosted you. You didn't get closure. That's box 2. You sit with the silence and choose not to spiral. That's box 1. A child throws a tantrum in the middle of the store. That's box 2. You kneel down, breathe, and respond calmly. That's box 1. And this quote from Epictetus becomes your shield. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Say it with me. Make the best use of what is in my power and take the rest as it happens. This is not passivity. It's not resignation. It's choosing to channel your limited energy into what actually moves the needle. Every time you let your peace be shattered by box 2, you lose twice. First to the event, then to your reaction. But when you live inside box 1, you win even in loss. You win even when things fall apart. Because your peace is yours. And this is your turning point. Let's close this section with a practice. Dichotomy of control. Exercise. Tonight, write 3 things that bothered you today. For each, ask, 1. Was this in my control? 2. Did I react like it was? 3. What would a wiser reaction look like? This is how you start to unwire your suffering. Box 1, box 2. That's it. The rest is practice. Now let's step into the real world, not ancient Rome, not philosophical ideas, but today. Today there are people walking among us who embody the very Stoic truths we've explored so far. And they do it not in silence, but in the fire. Not in theory, but in chaos. These are modern stories of Stoic composure. Story 1. James Stockdale, the prisoner who never broke. Let's begin with a man dropped into hell and walked out, still whole. In 1965, James Stockdale was shot down over Vietnam and captured. He spent over 7 years in a prisoner of war camp, tortured 15 times, kept in solitary confinement for years, his legs shackled in irons, his hands tied behind his back. The average person would have broken. Most did. But Stockdale didn't. He turned his prison into a training ground. He led other prisoners, even as they were beaten. He created secret codes tapped through walls. He resisted giving in to despair, even as others perished from hopelessness. When asked how he survived, he said, "You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality." That's Stoicism. It's not a smile. It's a spine made of iron. Story 2. The father in the ICU. A friend of mine lost his son last year. His child, 11 years old, collapsed at school, a rare heart condition. No warning. He was rushed to the ICU. The father arrived after the ambulance. He saw tubes, monitors, a flat expression on the nurse's face. They told him they were doing everything they could. He sat there, in that plastic hospital chair, not screaming, not thrashing, but breathing. Slow, measured. He didn't collapse into denial. He didn't lash out at the doctors. He didn't say, "Why me?" Later, when I asked him how, he told me, "I've been preparing for this moment my whole life. I didn't know it would be him. I just knew life would test me, and I decided long ago I won't fail that test." That's modern Stoicism, not philosophy. Practice. Story 3. The flight that kept delaying. Now let's bring it closer to the mundane, because Stoicism isn't just for war or death. It's for Tuesday at the airport. A woman sat at gate B12. Her flight was delayed. Again. For the third time. The man next to her cursed. The mother across from her shouted at her toddler. Everyone around her looked like a bomb ticking down. But she just sat. Calm. She sipped her tea. She opened her notebook. She journaled. She breathed. I asked her, after overhearing her calmly rearrange her whole itinerary over the phone, how she wasn't losing it. She said, "Anger won't make the plane come faster, so I do what I can. And then I wait. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. That's not passivity. That's power." Story 4. The CEO who was publicly betrayed. He built the company from nothing, and his co-founder blindsided him, voted him out, publicly humiliated him. People expected a meltdown, a bitter lawsuit, an expose interview. But when asked for comment, the man said, "This is a gift. I was too tied to something I no longer believed in. Now I'm free. I wish them well." No resentment, no viral Twitter threads, no vengeance, just peace. He started a new company 3 months later and told his team, "We only build with calm minds." Stoicism isn't loud. It's not showy. It doesn't tweet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't need to be right. It just is. It acts with clarity. And it waits with stillness while the storm passes. If you want proof that Stoicism works, you don't need to open a book. Just open your eyes. Now let's get real. You've made it through lessons about ego, anger, and control, but information without repetition? It's a fading spark. So this is where it all comes together. Your daily practice. The training ground where calm becomes instinct, where you stop trying to be stoic and start being one. 1. Morning prep. The obstacle is coming. Expect it. You wake up. You grab your phone. Notifications, chaos, noise. Before the world floods in, take 5 minutes. Sit still, eyes closed, and say to yourself, "Today someone will frustrate me. Someone will disappoint me. Something will go wrong." That's not pessimism, that's power. It's you meeting life on your own terms, not begging it to be perfect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Harsh? Maybe. But if you expect traffic, you don't scream at it. You expected it. And because you expected it, it doesn't control you. That's how you start your day. 2. Negative visualization. Lose it in your mind. First, sit with this thought. What if I lost this, that job, that partner, that health? What if it vanished tonight? Most people run from this thought. You won't. Why? Because only when you face loss in the mind can you truly appreciate what you have. And only when you've mentally lost something will life no longer catch you off guard. Seneca used to do this every single day. He would write about the end of his life, not to scare himself, but to anchor himself. He said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." Imagine losing your sight. Then open your eyes. That's gratitude, not the fluffy kind, but the kind forged through real awareness. 3. Evening journaling. The anger autopsy. Don't go to bed carrying the day's garbage. Every night, take out the mental trash. Here's a simple journaling ritual. Do it on paper, not a screen. Write this down. What made me angry today? What expectation did I have that clashed with reality? Did I react or did I respond? What would a wise Stoic have done instead? That's it. No filters. Just truth. This is where you rewire the subconscious, where you stop dragging yesterday into tomorrow, because unexamined emotions, they don't disappear, they fester, and every time you write, you bleed them out. 4. Voluntary discomfort. Strengthen the mind. Cold showers, skipping a meal, sitting in silence. Sounds uncomfortable? Good. That's the point. Stoics practiced this for one reason: to prove to themselves that they could endure, to remind themselves that comfort is optional, calm is trained. Take a cold shower, not to impress anyone, but to hear your brain scream, "Get out," and to stay anyway. Skip lunch, not because you want to diet, but because you want to prove you won't break. You don't have to suffer, but you do have to train. This isn't about self-punishment. It's about freedom. Because the more you choose discomfort, the less life can surprise you with it. 5. Impulse control. Mantra. Is this useful? Every time you want to lash out, say this in your mind: is this useful? That's it. 3 words. But those 3 words will buy you space. And in that space lives your power. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone disrespects you. Your partner says something sharp. You feel the fire rise. Ask, is this useful? Not is it fair? Not do they deserve it? Just, is this useful? Most times, it's not. Most times, silence is the loudest answer, and the calmest man always wins. Let's wrap this practice up. You don't need to do all 5 every day, but do at least 1 every single day. Pick your non-negotiable: morning prep, journaling, cold shower, mantra. This is your mind gym. This is how. Let's talk about the real enemy. It's not them. It's not what they said. It's not the disrespect. It's not even the betrayal. It's your ego. Yes, you're not really angry because of them. You're angry because your pride got bruised. There's a difference between actual harm and ego pain. Someone throws a rock at your head. That's real. But someone throws a word at your name and you spiral. Why? Because your ego says, how dare they? How dare they ignore you? How dare they talk over you? How dare they not see your value? But here's the truth. That version of you that needs to be seen, admired, validated, praised, doesn't even exist. It's a construction, a mask, a self-image you've built over time. And the more you feed it, the more vulnerable you become. Every time you're angry, I want you to ask yourself, what part of me is offended right now? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be the part of me that wanted to look good, the part of me that needed to feel superior, the part of me that thought it deserved better. Now, there's nothing wrong with confidence. But when confidence becomes identity, and identity becomes fragile, you're always on the edge of snapping. You're always one bad word away from rage. The Stoics had a word for this: thumos. It means spiritedness, but they didn't mean blind anger. They meant energy under control, the opposite of ego-driven fury. Seneca once said, "He who is not angry at anything has overcome himself." Let that land for a second. He who is not angry at anything has overcome himself, not others, not the government, not the system, not even the insult, himself. Because all anger is, at its root, ego pain. Here's a little test. Imagine someone calls you a fool. If you're not a fool, why be angry? It's untrue. If you are a fool, why be angry? They're just pointing it out. You see the trick? If you're anchored in truth, not ego, you become unshakable. Now listen closely. This is the tool I want you to carry with you everywhere. Whenever you're triggered, whenever that heat rises in your chest, whenever you feel disrespected, whisper this to yourself. This is my ego dying. Say it again. This is my ego dying. It'll hurt, because the ego screams as it dies. But that pain, that discomfort, it's growth, it's detachment, it's you reclaiming power. Think of the people you admire most, the ones who radiate strength, stillness, power. They aren't angry all the time. They don't shout, they don't snap, they don't get baited, because they've tamed their ego, and that's your task now. Every time someone offends you, see it as training, not punishment, not injustice, training. Training to detach, training to observe, training to let your small self, the ego, die quietly in the background. The next time someone doesn't say thank you, the next time they forget your birthday, the next time they mock your efforts, your dreams, your voice, pause, feel it rise, then say, "This is my ego dying." And smile, because now you're winning. This is what the Stoics practiced, not the illusion of control, but the mastery of response. And that mastery begins where your ego ends. He who is not angry at anything has overcome himself. Hold that line, leave it, and you'll never again be ruled by anyone or anything. Let's move on. Now that you understand the battle within, let's close this journey with something you've been needing all along. A final blueprint. The reprogramming. What does the Stoic mindset look like, fully activated? Let's go to the final part. Stop for a second. Let everything go quiet. You've just sat through nearly 1 hour. An hour that wasn't just content. They were a confrontation between the way you've been living and the version of you that's possible. One that doesn't flinch, doesn't yell, doesn't spiral into chaos when the world acts like the world. You now know this much is true. People won't change. Life won't calm down. But you absolutely can. The next time someone lies to you, insults you, cuts you off, ignores you, you're going to remember this moment. You'll feel the old anger rising like smoke, and then you'll do what most people never do. You'll choose silence. You'll choose control. You'll smile, not because it's fake, but because you've already won. Because here's the hard truth. You only get 2 choices in this life. You either become a slave to your emotions, snapping, blaming, burning bridges, or you become the master, calm, clear, composed. So, which one are you becoming? The angry version of you, or the version that's finally free? If you've made your choice, comment below. I am no longer reactive. Say it like a vow. Write it like a warning to your old self. And if you're truly done letting people steal your peace, hit subscribe right now. Don't just watch this and go back to being the same. commit, here, now. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius.